All right, guys, what's up?
Hey, guys.
This is episode 4. I almost said episode 3.
I know.
I'm starting to lose track, and we're only 4 episodes in.
Guys, welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to our podcast. We're so excited. Like, it's crazy. We're 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
And, I mean...
We're about to get into May.
I know. I mean... I also remember... Oh, my gosh. Here I go with, like, touching of this thing. Let me relax. But I remember our first episode. We were just like, oh, my gosh, we're doing our first episode. And now we're
4 in, and
we're
chilling.
getting
Past April.
Yeah, I know. I'm
getting excited with all these topics. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
But listen, if this is your first time here, we're here to talk about Christian topics.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about relationship issues and how to succeed in relationships. We're here to give you the advice that we know, as we've been together for 14 years.
Yeah, we've been together for a long time.
Almost married 6 years.
Yeah, almost.
You know? So we do know a little something. I'm not saying we know it all, but we want to offer what we do know. So if this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe.
Click that subscribe button. We also have an Instagram. It's still a little shy, right?
Yeah, it is a little shy.
Like we got a little more fixing up to do. But listen, social media in general, that's a whole nother job, and we're just trying to make sure that everything that we do is authentic. We're having fun. It doesn't seem fake. And that's really what this whole channel is about. This whole podcast is like being real, sharing our life stories, and just being able to hang out.
Yep. But if this is not your first time and you're actually a returning subscriber,
welcome back.
Welcome back. Thank you for continuously watching with us. You guys are motivation. Your continuous support is nothing but helpful.
Yeah, it really is.
Again, for those who are new here, and for our returning, this is the part where we talk about how grateful we are for this week, because we can't say nothing but good things when God is in control of our lives.
Yeah, I mean, we always like to start off with, how has God been good to you this week? What have you learned this week? So do you want to start?
All right. So, this week, if there's anything that I've kind of been noticing developing in my life, is the family function in my family, the way we're functioning as a family.
Yeah.
I started, it's when we got married, I want to say I gained a better relationship with my parents, but I've heard that's actually a thing.
That is a thing.
Even
happened to me.
Yeah. But I'm talking between my siblings, between my brother specifically. We never really had a good relationship. It was always kind of rough. And, if you know us personally, you've seen the trio that we were.
The seriousness of the Gomez's.
Yeah. But we're good, and I'm really happy. I don't know, it's just like a new bond that we've been gaining, and I'm visiting more, and I'm happy about it. So I'm grateful, because it did take some rocky, paths, and it took me to realize certain things, but we're here. We're doing good.
Yeah, and now I was just saying that, I was like, oh, that's really cute. Like, you're going to go, hang out with your brother. Like, that wasn't really much of a thing before. But now it's like, to see God repairing relationships, it's nice.
Yeah.
For sure.
At least for me, I don't know how they feel, honestly.
Imagine they're like...
Because they don't tell me anything, right?
Imagine they're like, sure. No, I'm kidding.
Shoot.
You're if you don't feel like that, never mind.
No, I think they feel the same. I want to say they do. But what about you?
So one thing I'm really grateful for, and this is kind of simple, but it's not. I'm grateful that I was able to go to church this Sunday. So
you weren't going to church this Sunday?
Well, no, that I was able to. So what I'm saying is, like, I wasn't able to go to church like every single Sunday. I'm in the wedding industry, so obviously weddings happen all weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. And, last year was definitely like a killer year for me. Business-wise, business was great, but I just wasn't able to really have that church fellowship time.
Yeah. Plus, I was all alone.
I know.
Nobody here beside me.
Hey, I knew you like Shrek. He complains about me watching Shrek.
It's like you watch it all the time.
I love Shrek.
But, come on, don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself.
I'm sorry. But so, being in the wedding industry, it's hard to have Sundays off. So something that I, proposed myself to do this year was to finally have some Sundays off. And so last Sunday I wasn't able to go to church, and it's been like one Sunday yes, one Sunday no. So when I go on Sundays, I'm like, oh man, this feels so great, you know, because not only am I obviously taking time for God, but it's also just a family life, you know. It's just the days where everyone else is off. I get to, you know, visit his mom and his dad.
Yeah.
I get to, you know, spend time with you. We can go out to eat. Like, it's just, it's a very nice family and God-centered like lifestyle, and something that I didn't realize that I really missed. So I didn't get to go last week, and I was just like, oh, this feels so weird that I'm working on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So me going this Sunday, I was like, oh my gosh, something that seems so like underrated, like not a big deal, but man, it feels so good.
Yeah.
And it's just something I'm so grateful
And
for.
Sundays are great.
Sundays are great.
And let me tell you, you are missed when you don't show up on Sundays. My mom is
Yeah.
always like, yeah, Rihanna.
Aww.
I'm like, Ma, she's working. She's like, oh.
I love her. If you're watching this, Nilsa, I love you.
Oh, sorry. Did you have something else that you wanted to add?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay, no, because I just wanted to go ahead and start talking about one of my most favorite mug shots. Well, my favorite mug, but this is our mug shot.
Mug shot of the day. You're so annoying. Yeah, then mine is, you know, I was talking about SpongeBob a lot, so I feel like I had to share my SpongeBob cup, and then on this side it says, I'm ready.
You know, these cups are really starting to show off our personalities, like our differences.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you see, like, he's super serious, and
Mine's just black, and it says, nah, I'm good.
and mine's like...
All right, so moving into the topic. So today's topic, I'm sorry, because you had the caption in mind, but I honestly don't remember what it was.
So we had the idea of what we wanted to talk about, but we're always trying to figure out, like, what do we want to title this? And this one is the ugly truth about
that's what it
being
was.
high school sweethearts.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Because there is a lot of pretty things,
Yeah.
but let me tell you, there's a lot of ugly things.
Yeah,
It's not all roses and daisies.
Yeah, and if there's anything that we've really gone through a lot was people always telling us like, oh my gosh, your relationship is so cute. Oh, I want a relationship like that.
Relationship goals. I mean, I've heard that many times.
Yeah, and like that, it was one of the reasons why we shared episode 2 with you guys, and it was because we wanted to be real about like not everything seems as perfect as it is, you know, and we dove in deep there. So if you guys are interested, we do talk about our breakup story and like what led to it and just everything that happened. If anything, that episode is kind of like a teaser, right? As far as like the
Teaser.
Ugly truth, like a teaser to this one.
No,
like
I want to say it's more of like a part 1.
Yeah.
And this is more of a part 2. So don't click off because there's more chisme.
Yeah.
For those that love it.
Nah, I'm good. Yeah, so we have, you know, we've been together since we were 14 years old.
Yeah.
And we went out when we were, when we were 14, but I'm just.
No, when we were 15.
When we were. You're confusing me. Stop. We've been together for 14 years, and we went out when we were 14.
So
Sorry, I thought I repeated myself.
For half our lives.
We've been together for half of our lives. We went out when we were in our freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of good things to it, too.
Yeah. For me, the first thing that comes up is just like the history that we've had.
Yeah, we have a lot of history.
I have so many stories, so many good stories to tell, you know, so many good moments.
Yeah.
I shared every single year of my high school year, of my growing, developing years with you.
Yeah, it's kind
know?
of funny, like, to see our pictures of, like, us when we were, like, our first pictures in our first year. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, we look like babies.
We do. We really do.
We look like, I'm here, like, first of all, for girls that know the whole eyebrow phase back in the day, like, my eyebrows were so thin. And I'm just like, what?
Yes.
Yeah, like,
Yes,
that was
that's
just
right.
the phase, like, thin eyebrows. So
that pencil thin eyebrow.
I had braces still. Like, there was just.
But I like that.
I mean, yeah.
I actually liked it. I remember when you took off your braces.
Yeah.
I was upset about it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But clearly, you know, we've been together for so long where we just share so many stories. Like, I think it's pretty cool. Like, there's times where, you know, the years have gone by, right? And we know the same people. So sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, remember like this person in like our junior year or our sophomore year? And like, I'm able to share that with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know?
because it's just when you're high school sweethearts, one of the things that you could really gain from it is relatability.
Yeah.
You know, because
Like
it's
a
like,
lot.
especially if you've gone this far, right? If you made it and you've gotten married and then you're like us, you're further into the marriage,
Yeah.
we have nothing but relatability.
Yeah.
We can backtrack to days where it's like, oh, you remember this and this and that. We can think about our graduation. You know,
Yeah.
we walked together.
We went to prom together.
We went to prom together. We went to Black and White,
The
which
black
was
and
our
white,
sophomore dance.
Our junior
Junior.
dance.
Okay,
year
junior dance.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it was very movie like.
We had a lot of first times together. Like I was saying,
My
how
first
like,
love.
my first love. Yeah, literally. You know, because I think when you're young, I mean, at least for us, young and dumb, you know, you date like around or whatever you want to call that. Really, it's just someone you like and whatever. But, you know, that it was different for sure, you know. And then obviously going into our relationship, I was like, oh, this is like for real, you know. And I experienced like love.
Yeah.
And experiencing still love, you know, but a different version of that, of what I thought love used to be. But, you know, Xavier was the first person to ever give me flowers and roses.
That's actually cute to know.
You know, like,
I actually like that.
Yeah, I had never received anything like that. And I remember when you did, in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've always wanted.
And you still always want it.
And I'm a big like flowers person and roses person.
Yeah.
But I remember when you first gave them to me was for my birthday, the first birthday we ever spent together.
Wow, you see, I don't remember that.
So I remember that because that day was the first time I had ever gone on a roller coaster.
Oh,
and it was the first time you gave me roses.
With a bear.
Yes, with the
bear.
Yes,
it was like this big golden brown bear.
And you had a whole smooth thing to you because my mom had dropped me off, right? I think it was like...
Wow, I don't remember this at all.
Listen. You were kind of like leaning on a car like this, like with your pockets, like, sup, girl, you know? And I remember my mom dropped me off and it was supposed to be a birthday thing. We went to Six Flags. And I came to say hi to you, and you were just leaning on the car. I think it was like your mom's car, trying to be like, you know, a baddie here.
Bruh, that was if it was my mom's car, that was
Corolla or like
no, that was like that blue teal looking Honda Odyssey. Like that was
maybe I don't know,
soccer mom car.
I don't know, but you were you know doing your thing. And I remember, you know, he tells me happy birthday and he's like, oh, I have something in the car for you. And then, you know, you open it and then you have like the bear and the roses there. And I was just like, aw, you know. So for me, I was just like, at that moment, I was like, he loves me. Like
that. And this was, so it was your birthday. We started in December.
We were 6 months in already.
6 months in?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, she knows.
Well, because it's simple math here.
Listen,
you know, like,
listen, it just doesn't come to me that fast, all right? Don't judge me.
You know, what else? You were the first to ever give me jewelry.
Okay.
You were the first that I went on a date with, like an actual date with.
Yeah?
You know? Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah. Wait,
because
so
we
you
were
never
so young.
actually had like, well,
a one-on-one date. No, you're 14 years old. I was barely able to leave the house.
I mean, at that age, I would consider like going to the park as a date. You never went to the park?
No, not really.
All right, cool.
No, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of it. Like, I don't think, you know, I think I've always wanted to, but, you know, my mom was just super strict. So she'd be like, no, you're staying in the house. And if you're going out with your brother.
Yeah, but not only that, you know, we also get to share friends.
Yeah.
You know, we have our friend Daniela.
Yeah,
Daniela,
Danny, if you're watching this,
OG.
Danny is like, we love Danny so much.
Danny's OG. She's from the beginning.
Yeah, she's been
before the beginning, if anything.
Yeah, like she is. At this point, I feel like Danny's a sister.
Yeah.
You know, like she's family. Like she's not in that friend category anymore. But it's funny because we were having this conversation the other day with her. And we were like, you know, we're so close to Danny because she was my maid of honor. And he was all like, she would have been my best man. Yeah. Like, you know. Well,
is it called best? No, it's called like best woman.
Best woman? I don't know.
Whatever.
You know.
But yeah, Danny is like I said, you know, she goes all the way back. She's
Yeah.
our best friend.
Yeah,
You know,
like
we share friends like
we
Alex
share
as well.
so many friends together, you know, and it's like, you know, it's like my friends are your friends, and it's just your relationships end up being my relationships, and it's just people that we've met across the way. Like, I mean, that could be a good thing and a bad thing for some people, but really, I don't ever have that, like, oh, who's that friend? Like, you know, because we just know. All right, I think I'm rambling. I'm like, so friends and
friends and friends and friends and
I have friends. I swear I have friends.
You know, I actually wanted to bring that up too, though, because you know there's all these good things, right? So everybody always looks at the good because that's the only thing that's attractive. That's the only thing that anybody wants to see. Because anytime you bring up the bad, it's like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But listen, there are some bad things as well. You know, and one of the bad things is that, you know, although we share friends, we also limit ourselves to friendships because we're spending so much time together that we don't really have time for friendships.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, yes, we have friends, and you're over here thinking like, oh wait, I swear I have friends. No, but to be honest, our friends list is small because it was always just me and you.
Yeah.
In high school.
We were together for so long. I mean, like I see where you're coming from.
You know, so although that's like, it's a cute thing, but at the same time, it could be a bad thing. Yeah. And I remember my teacher telling me that one time. She was like, just be careful because, you know, I'm seeing that you're doing all this and all that, because I wrote like an essay, and the essay was regarding our life. Mm-hmm. And she was like, this isn't healthy.
Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that.
She was like, this isn't healthy. Yeah. And it's because the assignment was, what would you do with $1 million if you won the lottery?
Oh, and
my entire essay was, I would buy a house, I would get married, I would do this, I would do that. And she's like, this isn't healthy. And I'm like, yo, you know, and I think about it now, I understand what she says. She was like, you need to enjoy who you are.
Yeah, like your youth.
You know, and I can think about that now and say like, yeah, you know, I should have, I could have, right?
Yeah.
But I was so focused in the future because we were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're moving on to what the bad part of, you know, a small part of what the bad is towards high school sweethearts.
Well, one thing that I wanted to mention, this is like a good thing and a bad thing. I feel like it can be both, but we know everything about each other.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously you learn more and more the years you go together, the more you start developing and just, you know, all of that. But we know a lot. Like, I'll know your little, like, things that I know your buttons, right? And he knows my buttons very well,
I could even ask you, too. Babe, I'm feeling like this. I don't know why. And she'll tell me why I'm feeling like this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, man, that's kind of...
Yeah,
like, you know what? Yeah.
It's true, though. And even with me, like, I'll have things where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do this, and I want to do this, this, and this, right? Let's just say I have these goals for the day, and you're like, babe, don't do that. Mm-hmm. And I'm here like, why? He's like, because every time you have this thing of like, you want to accomplish all these things, and at the end you're tired, you're burnt out, and you're this, you know?
It's like, I know your patterns and I already know what's going to come at the end.
And same thing goes for me. Like, you know, I'm here.
I would think that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, actually, never mind. That's a good part.
No, like, there's a lot of good in that.
But I mean, I guess for some people, it might be a bad thing just because they feel like they don't have anything to themselves.
Well, this is where we go into the other point in what's bad.
Yeah.
You know, and it's identity. Mm-hmm. You know, because when you're high school sweethearts, your identity becomes your relationship. It's almost to the point where it's like, oh, if you need to find Xavier, just look for Adrian.
And that was actually a thing.
Yeah. It's like, oh, if you see Xavier, you know Adrian's nearby.
That's why they even say, like, when you're younger, especially when you're younger, if anything, your friendships will really, you know, mold you quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you're older and you have friendships, you start changing your patterns because no matter what the relationships you're around, they mold you to a person. But when you're younger, you like change like this quickly. You know, if you're around a bad group, I mean, and that goes back to our, like, you know, our toxic,
our last topic,
you know, but we were just so close together that we really started molding each other, which could have been a good thing, but
we were literally crafting ourselves or sculpting ourselves for the future, which is today.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like, I have my brother, I have my cousins. Like, in my life, it was always like guys, because I don't have any like female family members that were my age. And so I was always into video games, but it was like a lot of Nintendo, and it was a lot of like, just a different system. And then me going out with you and wanting to spend time with you, I wanted to relate to you as well. Yeah. Right. I want to do things that'll, like, oh, what can I do for him to like, find me cooler or whatever it is.
That's true. Because we started playing Call of Duty together.
Together. I mean, it ended up being great because I actually loved it, so it worked out.
So there's good in that,
There is good in that because you can find yourself, but very often, and it's just because I've seen this a lot, like sometimes people tend to change their likes or dislikes to please the other person, right? Because you want the other person to find you more attractive because you like the same things. Right, but a lot of times it's like, no, you need to learn to be your own person.
Right.
I just remember in high school it was always like that, like girls would be like, oh, I like this. And I'm like, since when?
Yeah. Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
Because it just happened. So it's like instead of developing my own character,
I tried to fix it.
I know.
You still bump into it.
Instead of developing into our own characters, like our own likes and stuff on our own, it's like we started kind of meshing into like, into me becoming you, you becoming me, like that kind of thing.
And your identity was totally who I was, and the same vice versa. Yeah. So everything that I liked and didn't like, or anything that I did and didn't do, was according to what you did or didn't do. And all of this sounds good, but there's a catch to that. When your identity becomes another person's identity, or you have no identity without that other person, what ends up happening is that when you're by yourself, you feel lost.
Yeah.
For me, that was the situation. I think you lost it. So I became more like that, and you didn't, because you got into a job like Sephora where your personality was really coming out. It was developing and this and that. You were becoming very sociable and all that. Yeah. But I got left behind. Yeah. So we're 18, and if I was separated from you, I didn't know how to talk inside a group.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to talk with guy friends. And if I had friends that were, just guys, I would prefer not to be with them because I felt awkward around them.
Yeah.
So my identity was so much like yours, or so attached to yours, that if you weren't around, I would just close up.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what do I do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's almost like when we were and even sometimes today I catch myself doing it, right? But it was like when we were socialized with friends, I felt so naked without having you there, because it's like, I usually depend on her to make up topics and stuff like that, and then I just carry along with it, or I just feed off of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, I'm a very great conversation person.
Yeah. And you got that from Sephora.
Yeah, so like when I was working at Sephora, that was like a thing. It was more like a sales technique. Like they try to make sure that you're able to communicate, and just in general, that's how sales works. Like you wanna sell something, you gotta be a people's person. You gotta be able to talk. So I can literally make conversations out of thin air.
Yeah, I see you do it. I'm like, yo, I wish I could do that.
I can go to a random stranger and just have like this whole deep. No, you've gotten really good at it. Like you're a lot better at it than you think you are.
But there are moments. It's so heavy. Like I'm sure there's people that can relate to me, right? Where it's like you're in a situation where you're talking to somebody and you're running out of small talk, and then you're just like, so yeah, But then it's like, you make it so obvious that you don't know what else to do. The other person starts getting awkward, and it's like, all right, well, I'll talk to you later.
It's a skill. It's a gift, like a skill, something you have to develop. But yeah, I can see that. Like when it came to like talking into groups, I mean, I never noticed it, but I guess it's because I was around.
Yeah.
But I don't know how your conversations went when I wasn't around.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty dry. I didn't have a lot of friends because of that. No, I had friends, but it was like, I didn't put myself in situations where I needed to talk to them one-on-one. Like I still don't do that to this day because I'm just not good at conversation. Yeah. So, if somebody's watching this that knows, or oh yeah, I actually do remember that.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
there you go. Here it is.
He's like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. Xavier is a little. No, I'm kidding.
He is a little weird, isn't he?
No,
No,
you're
no.
not weird.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But, but that's another thing, and that carries on to the emotional part of things.
Yeah.
For me, I had a lot of emotional dependence on Adrian. I relied on her for a lot of things when it came to, making me feel better, or just making me happy, or just, if my mood was down, whatever, making me feel better.
So
like,
used
it was
to
just
someone.
yeah, and it felt so weird. My emotions would shift when you weren't around.
Yeah, the thing is that, like, when you're young, you're like, you really like someone. Even if you're older and you really like someone, you just want to be around that person so much.
Mm-hmm.
You're
it's like a 24/7 thing.
You're in this new stage,
24/8.
and yeah, it's like you want to talk on the phone all the time, which we did. You want to, see each other every day, which we did because we were in high school.
Yeah.
If anything, the only times we didn't were
Was
probably
during
Sundays.
class.
Yeah, during class and like on Sundays.
It was during Sundays? When I saw you during Sundays.
No. Oh, actually, yeah, afterwards. But remember, you used to see me in school. Actually, yeah, now that I think about it.
No, we were always
We saw
seeing
each other every
and
day.
your mom made a point.
Yeah.
She was like, no, you guys are seeing each other too much. It's
And
too
your mom
much.
did
And
too.
Yeah.
Because, so like I was saying, it's like, you just like this person so much. You're getting to know them. You want to be with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're so young and you're still like developing as a person, it can be really unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I remember that, like, obviously besides school, sometimes he would come over. And then on Saturdays, you would go to my house or I would go to your house. And then on Sundays, we would go to church together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
started
in the
going to
beginning,
your
but you
church.
started coming to my
Yeah.
church. Yeah.
Like
so,
right around 16, I started going to your church more often.
yeah. And then on Fridays, I would go to your church for
Yeah.
youth services.
Yeah.
So it's like we were always together. And I didn't mind it, but I did, like, now that I'm older and I see it, like, at the far distance, I'm like, yeah, that's not healthy,
Yeah, I know.
because it's like, one, you isolate yourself from like other people, and then it's just like all we have is each other. I
Yeah,
mean, we
you
had
don't
our
really build-
friendships,
we had friendships,
but we didn't
weren't-
build it. You didn't build a strong friendship
Our
with anyone
strong
else.
friendship started becoming stronger when we were married. No,
Yeah.
when we were out of high school,
Yeah.
and we were getting towards the breakup.
Yeah.
Because that's when we had to
yeah.
create those friendships. That's when I had to seek people.
Yeah.
Right. So I got Manny, I got Alex, I got Danny. These were 3 people that I used. Sorry, not used, that I needed throughout that breakup process.
Yeah.
And my friendship started becoming a friendship during that time period.
Yeah.
But before that, there wasn't really anything there.
Yeah. It was just like, it's Adrian or that's it.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing with me, I mean, obviously, like we were going back to, like, I'm good at socializing, so I was able to just, like, all right, hey, let's talk, and
Yeah.
whatever. So it was a little bit easier for me. But yeah, I did notice, like, oh man, like, we share our friends.
Yeah.
And it was awkward. And I remember, like, we tell
Even
Danny
our
this.
church, it was a problem because when we broke up, our church was an issue.
Yeah.
You started looking for another church. I started looking for another church.
Yeah, because I'm like,
But
this
then
is
we
weird.
were like,
I don't
we
want
don't want to leave the church.
Yeah.
So we kept seeing each other.
We just, you share everything with this person, and it's like, when you're married, obviously you share everything, but we were just so young and
Yeah.
sharing everything.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, I think either I was going over your house or you were coming over my house, and I think we were like 15 or 16. I think we were 15, and even your mom had said, like, hey, you need to give her space,
Yeah.
because she's gonna get tired.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't, but
No,
You
I
know?
mean, you started to.
yeah,
Yeah, because after high school, it started becoming like we were so dependent on each other, but I wasn't giving you what you were looking for. So you started getting tired of me.
yeah.
Or we started like really drifting apart. There was moments where we were just drifting.
I mean, I know, like, we talked
That's
about.
why we were arguing all the
Yeah,
time.
I was gonna say, I know we talked about, like, there was things that built up that caused for our breakup,
Mhm.
But honestly, like, that's where my memory kind of goes blank. Like, there's a lot of details.
Well, you put it in your repressed memory.
I guess that's what it
Yeah.
is, like, because I don't remember, like, all of the details
Yeah.
of, like.
One thing I do remember is in our arguments, a lot of what it was she didn't want to leave.
Oh, yes,
And
that
we
was
were in
a
the
big
car
one
and
for
we
me.
were arguing because it's like, well, I don't want to leave, you know, and it was for her. She well, didn't want to leave my side, right?
Yeah.
So she would get mad at me because I wasn't doing enough, right, to get us to
Oh
that
my
point.
God, yes.
Yeah.
You just brought everything back. So because we were together since we were like really young,
Yeah.
and at this point it was like so long. And I think just in general, like women have this thing where they kind of tend to like mature a lot faster.
Mhm.
In my head, I'm here like, so how long are we gonna date before we get married?
Right.
You know, and this goes back to
And
like
this is
our
already
whole.
4 or 5
We
years
were
in?
like our senior year, like just
Well, I'm saying after high school, we're 4
right
years.
after high school, we were already
4 years going into 5.
4 years going into 5.
Yeah.
So it's like I had expectations. You know, I'm here like, okay, we're together all the time. Like one of the things that I would always say to him is like, you know, obviously as any mother should, you know, my mom would give me limitations on how much I can like see you in a week and the timings. And, you know, I applaud her for that because that is her trying to keep me on check, making sure like, you know, we're staying on the right path. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to have these limitations anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even talking about like sexual wise. I'm just talking about like, I want to see you when I want to see you. I want to live with you already. Like, I would love to be married and I would love to this. And so in my head, it was just like I was putting a lot of pressure of like, so what are we doing to make this happen?
Mhm.
You know, and that's what he meant by like, I didn't want to leave because saying bye at the end of the day, I would be like, great, it's just another reminder that who knows when we're going to get married.
Yeah. And for her, it was a major issue because it's like, it's like
I
she
was just
wants
so
to be
attached.
with me.
I
Yeah,
was
you were
so
so attached to me.
attached.
You just didn't want me to leave. And you know, for me, it's like I gotta go. Like you're putting me in a position where it's like, yo, I have to leave.
Lady, I got to go.
No, because the thing is, your mom was getting mad at me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and for me, I would always try to protect your image, but it was tough because it's like, yo, like your mom needs me to leave. What do you want me to do? Like I gotta go. You know,
Yeah.
and she was putting me in this position where it's like, bruh, like. Come on.
I remember, but like, listen, like you get so used to someone that the other person like becomes your everything,
Yeah.
you know, and that's where we definitely created like this very unhealthy, you know, I don't know if we want to call it a toxic relationship. I would say it kind of was, you know, at that point.
See, I don't like the idea of calling it toxic because we were good for each other,
Yeah.
but the way we were spending time together was
Yeah.
unhealthy.
It was unhealthy, I would
Yeah.
say.
Another thing that we go through, another bad part of this is it's the hormonal stages of it. You know, it's tough because she's developing as a woman and
Yeah.
I'm developing as a man.
Yeah. And like, if there's anything that I realized, because, you know, when you're young and you're going out at like, you know, 13, 14, 15 years old, like my mom would be like, you can't have a boyfriend. And obviously, you know, she ended up because she met you and your whole family. But, you know, when I have kids, like I think about it. I think at that age, you're just going through so much.
Mhm.
You know, you're literally going through puberty, you know, and we went through that together. But it's like, you know, at this point, your hormones are acting up. You
Yeah.
know, there's just urges that you get and just, you know, bad decisions that you can make. And, you know, we definitely had this mindset, you know, because we were both Christian and obviously we weren't like super into God at that point. We just had the baseline of like, I know what I can and can't do.
Right. And then you always have that verse in the back of your head where it's like, you know, sex is only good for marriage and you can't do it before marriage.
Exactly.
Et cetera, et cetera.
But what do you do when you're young and you have these urges? It's like, here's a line that you're not supposed to cross, right? You kind of just start going around the line. You're making loops and you're, you know, and there's
It's like, ooh, how close can I get
how
to
close
it?
can I get to the line
Without crossing that line.
without crossing that line, you know? And that's the part where, you know, I honestly feel like a lot of people go through things like this, not even just.
I guarantee you it's almost I don't care if you're a Christian or non-Christian.
Yeah.
Listen, when you're in love and if you put yourself where you're by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you put yourself in a position where the two of you are alone, which, you know, I highly recommend against it,
Yeah.
but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get handsy. You know, the both of you.
Yeah.
No one is stronger than the other. The both of you are attracted to each other. There's a reason why you guys are together.
Yeah, I mean, and there's also a reason why the Bible itself says flee from sexual temptation.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't say resist.
Yeah.
It says
flee from it.
Flee, because it's a strong thing, you know?
So you got to yell out to that woman, that girl that you're dating, and say, not today, Satan.
No, but like it's rough, you know, because you're battling so much, right? You're battling with yourself of like, I love this person and I want to go to that next step with that person. But then you're also here with like, no, I have my morals and I have my standards and I want to make it to that altar being pure, you know? But like we said, we unfortunately definitely went through our stages of like, you know, going around the line, like peeking over the line. And like, there was just, I think about it now and I'm just all like, wow, it doesn't matter how much, you know, how strict your parents could be. It doesn't matter, like, how overprotective you try to be to a child. Like, kids will just find a way anyways to do what they want to do, even if you don't allow it. But I think, like, the balance is what's important. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No. I don't want to cut you off.
No. Go.
You were done? Okay, well, the one thing that I was going to say, though, is what's amazing is that, listen, where you have to discipline your child, and when you raise your child with that Christian mentality,
I already know where you're going.
It doesn't matter, right? You get me? Like, we were, like she says, playing with the line, right? Playing with that border, you know, because face it, you know, I got handsy. It's just the reality, right? But at the end, what was in the back of my head was, I can't do this. I can't do this.
That was your spirit convicting you.
And exactly. But if you don't raise your child with that knowledge, if you don't raise your child with the scripture, they will fall.
You know what my mom used to always tell me? She would be like, listen, you could do whatever you want. And I may not see it all, but the one who does is God. She's all like, so be careful what you do.
My mom would tell me that too.
Oof. And I remember I would be like sitting and like, I would just think like, God? You know, and like that was always my thing. It was like, you know, I could be doing anything and it's all like, be careful what you're doing. Like God's watching you. And I'd be like, okay. And then I would have, it was even crazier because I have an aunt of mine in Peru and she's a pastor and she would be like, listen, I'm always praying for you and I might not be there, but I have a spiritual satellite called the Holy Spirit. And I'd be like, okay. She was all like, and he tells me, well, not here, but like he's like, there's the Holy Spirit tells me when something's up, you know. And I'm just all like,
I wonder what she meant by that.
I know, right? She was probably, who knows?
But being young, you know, a lot of the issues that come, I know for us, we had a different mentality going into our relationship. I want to say we were pretty mature. Obviously, this is coming from a biased perspective, right? My own perspective in this, but I want to say we were kind of mature. The general situation for most couples is at that age you're not mature.
Yeah, you don't really care.
So your decisions that you make are based on the knowledge that you have at that current age.
Yeah.
You know, so the lack of maturity is a bad portion of what it is to be in a relationship that young.
Yeah.
You know, you're not mature. You're learning together, right? The good thing is that we were taught by the Bible. We were taught by
we had Christian
structure, right?
Yeah.
But still, you know, that didn't save us from certain situations. You know, and the lack of maturity is what I mean, you know.
I mean, and imagine if we didn't have that, you know.
What, the Christian principles?
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's what happens with most people. It's like, you know, even if you slightly do, it's like when you're young, you just don't think about the consequences of your actions, right? You don't think about like, oh, what's going to happen if I do this decision now? You just think of like, what's fun? What do I want right now? And that's it. You know, then obviously you get older and you gain wisdom and you're just all like, wow, I probably shouldn't have done this, and this.
Yeah. You know, I thank God, you know, I know God has his ways, right? And he places people in our lives for a specific reason. And, you know, I thank God for the outcome of my life, right? I think now and I'm like, you know, I love the relationship I have with you, right? And I love how we grew together. And I love how everything turned out, how we're married and how we have this history. But would I ever do it again? You know, that's the different question. Yeah. You know, because a lot of times it's like I can think about it now with the level of maturity that I have and
the outcome, you know,
and the outcome of certain things. And it's like, man, you know, maybe I could have waited a little bit.
Well, that's the thing.
And then that's where you start. And then this is where you start getting into the really ugly parts of dating for too long, or in our case, being high school sweethearts.
Yeah, because people just think it's like, oh, it's a cute story. And it's like, listen, there's a lot of things that I would have changed. And, the main reason why we talk about the ugly side of things is because there's like a misconception that like Christians or church people don't go through anything wrong, and it's not like we live this life where everything went wrong, but obviously we're talking about it more just because, it just brings a light of reality of like what it is, everything that we've gone through. But that's not to say that we've gone through amazing moments. We've gone through, beautiful moments together, and there's been so many blessings. But when we get really personal about our things, it's because we feel like it can really help someone else out.
Yeah, because there's plenty of people that are going through the same situation as us.
But nobody talks about it.
And nobody talks about it. And it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's
like we're supposed to be an example, and our example, at least the one that we're trying to show people, is that we have fallen.
Yeah.
But we didn't just stay there. We got back up. And with God's help and God's grace, like we were able to turn it around. And it doesn't matter what kind of situation you've been through, doesn't matter how far off, you went off maybe with your boyfriend or girlfriend, like, God still has grace over your life, and God still has a plan over your life,
Amen, baby.
And I just think like, if there's anything that I would have changed, I would have loved the same outcome, but I would have gone out with you being much older. Like I wish we could have started dating maybe at 18 rather than 14.
Yeah.
Or maybe like at 20 or 21 or 22, because there was just so much development. And obviously that's to say like everything would have been exactly the same, but there's a lot of things that would have changed had we have gone out. Me and this thing, man. There would have been a lot of differences had we had gone out if we were much older. But in my perfect like reality or world in my head that I'm saying is like, ideally, I think it would have been best to have gone out when we were older.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the ugly part of dating for so long is that sexual temptation.
Yeah.
There's obviously other ugly parts of dating for long, but at least in our situation, and at least in the more relatable situation,
the Christian
is the sexual temptation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you I'm glad that you mentioned, how we need to be real with each other, right? And not only with each other, but with our viewers.
Yeah.
Because we need to build an honest perspective here.
Yeah.
So that way people can feel the trust and the courage to seek help before maybe they fall.
Yeah.
Because when you're dating for a long time, the issue here is that you're leaving yourself more vulnerable or at a greater risk of falling and having sex before marriage than when you were to date at a different time period or a different time frame or a different time period of your life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, imagine like going out for so young, like us being young and going through puberty together. Like that was just like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
like
100%.
There's just, it's like, okay, so here you have two people really in love and their hormones are acting up. Like, we talked about playing with a line, right? And like messing, how far close to it can you get without actually crossing it? But then after that, it's like, we still had these principles of like, no, we want to make it pure to the day we get married.
Yeah.
Right? Then unfortunately we went through our breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I revealed to her, and this is kind of like what we meant by this is going to be part 2.
Well, if you think about it, all of our stories connect.
Yeah.
All episode 1, 2, 3, and now this one being 4, they all connect in some way somehow.
Yeah. We're giving you guys a message in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I'm sorry, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but we're not actually planning it. We're like, oh, we don't know what. Like, I really don't know what next podcast is gonna be.
Yeah, we have like a random list of things to talk about, but nothing's really set in stone.
Yeah, but anyway, Now I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, and then this is where we start talking about failures,
Yeah.
you know, because when I revealed to her that I wasn't being faithful,
Yeah.
we stopped talking. We got in this big fight and everything. Well, you really got in this big fight because you were the one fighting me,
Yeah.
and I was over here like a sad puppy.
Yeah.
But, besides that, we didn't exactly break up right away.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk for maybe 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
And then when you finally spoke to me, we kind of like fixed things up, patched things up. And
it was on and off. At
no,
that
no, no,
point.
it wasn't on and off.
No.
No, it wasn't on and off at all. So we fixed things up after the 2 to 3 days, and we started continuing with our lives. But before, and this is what I remember, like kind of like a core memory. Before we went back out together, you told me, I'm afraid that we're doing this too soon, but I'm gonna give it a shot. You said I was scared. I'm scared that we're doing this too soon, or I'm forgiving you too fast, but I'm gonna give it a shot.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah. And, for us, when we were in this stage, after going through what was supposed to be a breakup, we were still losing ourselves. And we knew that.
Yeah.
We still knew that we were, this relationship was going nowhere.
Yeah.
It was awkward. It was weird. We were losing it.
We couldn't really have a conversation as much anymore. Like we said, like we were in a world of hurt. And it was just the relationship just definitely had, imagine just like you're walking somewhere and then I don't know where something really big just falls right in front of you. Yeah. Then you're like, do I go around it? Do I go over it? It was kind of like that for us.
Yeah. And just to give you guys an age perspective as well, because I want to give you as well like a timeline. We were both 21.
Yeah.
You were like a month away from 21.
Yeah.
But, we were basically both 21. And then we got married at 23. Mm-hmm. No.
We got married at 23. Yeah. We got engaged at 21.
Hey, that's a little fuzzy. We got engaged at 21. Mm-hmm. And then we got married at 23. It took us about a year and a half to get married, right? Just to give you a timeline perspective, right? So going back, because I don't want to lose you, going back, we were in this process
We're in a rut. Yeah.
Right, but we're in this process of patching things up, trying to keep each other strong, try to salvage
whatever was left.
Whatever was left of Xavier and Adrian.
Yeah.
On December 18, 2007.
Aww. Yeah, that was our date.
Yeah, and that's what we were trying to save.
Yeah.
But it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and do you want to say this? Do you want me to say this?
No, because I think I'm going to get emotional.
Okay. It's not really, it's just, it sucks for us, because we did our best. We are 21 here. Oh, please don't cry. Please don't cry.
I am.
You okay?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll do it. Okay. We're both 21 here. We're trying to salvage our relationship, but we didn't know what to do. As Christians, what you should do, here's what you should do, right? After a breakup, especially if somebody was unfaithful and you're trying to salvage your relationship, what you need to do is give time. The correct thing to do is give time and seek God like never before, right? I understand there's always this thing where it's like, well, you shouldn't have waited until this problem, but that's just the way we are naturally.
Yeah.
God waits for us to be in our lowest point sometimes, and he blesses us that way. Right. So what we should have done was to seek God, seek first his kingdom. Right. Yeah. And then everything was be given to us. But we didn't do that.
Yeah. We actually went the opposite way.
We totally went the opposite way.
Yeah.
And what we did was try to fill in with the one thing we thought was missing.
Yeah.
Which was sex.
Yeah.
And we messed up.
Yeah.
This is where we failed miserably.
Yeah.
And this is why Adrian is getting emotional. I would normally get emotional with this. Trying to stay a little strong here. And it sucks because I have to be honest. But at the same time, first I want to ask for forgiveness because whoever's viewing this, whether friends, family, or people from the church, I was being kind of deceiving. And it's just, we did this. We failed so hard, man. We tried so bad. We tried. I'm telling you, we tried. We did everything we could.
Yeah.
Although, yes, we were playing with the line because naturally that's what it was. We were growing up with hormones. We were dating for too long. All these things will happen, you know? But we waited till we were 21, and I tried so hard, but I was desperate to keep you.
Yeah, I remember, like, if anything, like, you know, that was like one common thing. It's like we would mess up, you know, and maybe go a little bit further off. And then we would talk about how, like, hey, we can't do this. Like, this is wrong. And that was like our constant battle, right? Like, no, like, stay away, like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, something else would happen. And then it's just like, we can't be doing this. And it was probably, for me, I know it was one of the reasons where I'm like, we need to get married.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not just as easy as saying, let's get married.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole other world, you know. But that was...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, that was definitely one of my reasonings because, you know, I was being convicted hard. My God, this thing. But, you know, I was definitely feeling like you got to fix yourself. Like, this isn't right. And if you keep going, you're going to cross that line one day, you know? And that was the last thing that I wanted.
Yeah.
And so, you know, us going through that experience was just, you know, I was trying to save something that, you know, I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's really like we just went the complete opposite way.
Yeah. And we were just so dumb about it too, you know?
I know.
But it's like, you know, you're going through, I'm trying to save my relationship with you, right? You're going through your emotional wreck on your own too, because you weren't being very honest with me either.
Yeah.
You were feeling some type of way. You had your reservations. You didn't know if you wanted to continue, but yet we were, you know, we were still trying to like do something, right? Yeah. And we thought that was going to fix it. That didn't fix nothing. That made it worse.
No, if anything, right afterwards, not even right afterwards, it was more of just, it was the empty feeling.
Yeah.
For me.
We killed the experience.
And,
you know?
And that's why I get emotional because we really did try saving ourselves for years.
And we did a good job.
And we did a decent job.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, I mean,
like we did
no, but we did a decent, like, okay.
Of all the opportunities that we had.
Yeah. So when we mean crossing the line, we're not talking like we're talking like, you know, heavy makeout sessions where one can get handsy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like, you're putting yourself in a situation you shouldn't be.
In a bad situation.
Sometimes the living room was dark. They're putting yourself in a situation where we shouldn't be.
Yeah, sometimes you're in a room alone.
For the most part, we did a good job at keeping ourselves. It's just we didn't know what to do.
Yeah. We just thought we were like, well, at this point, let's try something. Something different has to make our relationship better because we were just out of it completely.
Yeah.
You know, and all that did was make it worse because now not only was I, you know, angry at him, I was angry at myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm here like, wow, what did I just do? I'm so stupid. You know, and the reason why I got emotional is because, you know, after so many years of waiting, like, had I just waited a little bit longer.
And we were so close.
We were so close.
Because we only got married at 23.
Like 2 years after.
We got engaged the same year.
Yeah.
We were so close.
This is a portion that nobody likes to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, we want to
keep it. I mean, for a long time, you know, throughout our history of relationship, right, and through this podcast, you know, we were like, are we really going to talk about that? Like, are we really going to cross that line? And so the only reason why we're being transparent about this is, for one, to be transparent, right?
Yeah.
But we don't want to portray, you know, we don't want to be a fake Christian.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be real with our viewers. We want to be real with the people, even the people that know, because we have seeked out advice, right?
Yeah.
So who would we be to make this podcast and make it look like we're saints when that's the very problem we're trying to solve?
By that, it's like, it's a topic and it's something that a lot of Christians go through, you know, because I've spoken to so many, like, you know, I've spoken to friends, I've spoken to people that I'm not really, that may not be like super close to, but it's like we've had honest, you know, conversations, and it's like, yeah, like I've gone through this and I've gone through that, and it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm here like, why is it that I'm hearing this? in this form, but it's never something that's really talked about.
Yeah.
And I can understand why it's not maybe a topic that's so loudly spoken about in churches, because nobody wants to encourage that behavior, right? But just within our channel and within this podcast, we just want to show you guys that, like, we have gone through our struggles. We have gone through our difficulties, our moments of temptation, our moments of downfall. We've shared such amazing like stories together. We've shared so many blessings together, and that's a whole nother thing, right? I don't want this to also come across like, man, they've gone through a lot,
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that. It's just we're sharing this part more, right? Because it's like we want to shed light on the realities of things that people go through, and hopefully how to solve it.
Yeah. By nature, we're sinful.
Yeah.
But our fruit that we want to show you guys is honesty, love.
Yeah.
Compassion. Compassion. We want to be empathetic with everyone.
Yeah.
Right? And show you a reality that a lot of us face as Christians. If you're a believer, but you might have drifted off, come back.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be perfect.
Yeah. Actually, it's crazy because when we look on all these different people within the Bible, God always uses someone who was not qualified.
Yeah.
God uses the people that you would least expect. The one that wasn't perfect, the one that drifted out the most.
Yeah.
And I know I said this before, but it's like God loves to use imperfect people.
Yeah.
It's almost like God loves to use people to surprise others.
And here we have Paul, like you said. Paul is a person that crucified Christians.
Yeah, like he just he went after them, he killed them, and just was part of that movement. Yet here he is, one of the biggest people that were used in the Bible. God uses people's stories, and changes them around for his good.
Yep.
And that's what we hope to do within our experiences, because it's not easy to share these kind of things.
No, it's not. We're being completely vulnerable.
Yeah, we are. And it's like, it's things that we've talked about. We don't just say things and just like, surprise, like I'm going to mention our personal life in here. But the thing is that we decided to do this podcast to help out others, and to show that there is another side to your sin. There is something else. There's something more that can happen despite of how far away you've drifted.
Yeah.
Because
God is good.
God is really good.
God is so good.
Yeah.
And if you, maybe you're in a situation like, okay, so, I know we said Christians that may have drifted off, but what if you're a curious person and you're looking to see who God is? Well, listen, when you first come to church, everything's going to look nice. Then you start seeing imperfections, but you have to, at some point, realize that you're looking for God, not for man.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for imperfection, that's what you're going to find.
Yeah.
Seek and you shall find doesn't only apply to God's word.
Yeah.
If you're seeking imperfection, you're going to find imperfection.
Yeah. Yeah. Aww.
But, one thing I do want to say, and I don't want any mixed messages here, guys, do save yourself for marriage. It's biblical. Save yourself for marriage. If you're so close to messing up, if you feel like you're testing that line, back up. Let this be your warning.
I mean, that's like one thing that I think about, right? If there's anything that I could have truly changed, is I wished our first time together would have been when we were officially married.
And it's such a blessing.
It's a blessing because that's God's gift towards your marriage. Yep. And we try to always gain the blessing before going through everything else, right? We want the blessing first, and it's just really we mess it up.
Yeah. And for those couples that are in cohabitation already, you're already living with your partner, listen, if things are working out, I'm not going to control your life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if you feel like things are working out and you guys really love each other, you guys are intentional, put yourself in a position that pleases God.
Yeah. I mean, we have that Bible verse where it says it's better to marry than to burn with passion. You're not going to live with someone and not do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, how amazing is it to know that God is blessing your household?
Yeah.
Like that's just a blessing of itself.
Yeah, and getting married isn't going to make problems disappear. If anything, the devil's going to attack you more. Yeah. But just love intentionally. Yeah. And counseling helps. Marriage counseling helps.
Yeah. Actually, marriage counseling helps counseling. I said canceling. Marriage counseling helps before problems come. So a lot of times people tend to go when they're having issues already. Go before.
Yeah, go before.
Go before because it's just gonna help you out. And sometimes there's things that, you know, might be developing and you have no idea that they are. And it just sometimes professional help, like they can really help you out and kind of like dissolve this certain situation before it gets any worse. Yeah. You know?
But
yeah.
Listen, I know this is a lengthy one. Guys, I appreciate you. You know, I appreciate you guys for watching this long.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, again, we speak from our heart. We want to be as honest as we can with you guys, show you as much, you know, love and compassion and empathy when we speak.
For sure.
We also want to teach you guys what God really wants for our lives as Christians.
Yeah.
You know, but again, thank you guys.
Seriously, thank you so much. And you know, it's funny, like almost every episode that we start off with, like we'll write a topic, we'll write maybe like 5 key points at most, right? And then it's just like, okay, well, you know, we look at it and we're just like, all right, this is going to be like a 20-minute type of like video. Mm-hmm. And then here we are, we're like, oh, we're over an hour. So when we go over, it's just, well, I love talking. And then obviously once we start talking, it's like we could just keep rambling on. But seriously, thank you so much for, you know, sticking around, for being, you know, a subscriber, a follower, for just supporting us, you know. It's a new journey and it's just something we're constantly excited for. This is like a passion project at this point, you know, and and really everything that we do, you know, we try to do it with excellence. We try to make sure that we have God's blessing, you know, and we try to make sure that we're hitting the right topics, that we're coming across with the right messages. But, you know, we're just so grateful. We're grateful for you, and we're grateful for what God wants to do through us. And we just hope you guys stick around because, you know, it's going to get interesting.
And if you liked it so far, guys, please give us a comment, give us some feedback.
Yes,
let us know what we
really
did good. Let us know what we did
feedbacks.
wrong. You know, if you have advice that you might want to give to a couple, they might read the comments.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead, put it in the comments. Give us a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
And guys, thank you so much. This was episode 4. Can't wait for the next one.
So we'll see you on episode 5, guys.
We'll see you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.